Welcome to the Digital Brand Builder Podcast, where we bring you the best growth strategies from the world's experts to help build your business fast. And now, here's your host, Mark Fidelman.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Digital Brand Builder Podcast. Joining me today is Kevin Urrutia, and we're going to talk about SEO. One of my weaknesses, although lately I've been getting a lot better. This is one of the few marketing tactics that I haven't done personally. I take great pride in the fact that I've done a lot of these things personally and for long periods of time. But SEO is one that I haven't. But before we jump in, and this isn't just your average SEO podcast, we're going to talk about specific tactics to and hacks, as I look at it, to better your SEO. So before we jump in, though, Kevin, can you give us a quick background on yourself?
Yeah, so my name is Kevin Urrutia, and I'm the founder of Voy Media. But before this, I was a programmer out in Silicon Valley, and after I was working there for 4 years, I went to start my own cleaning company, and we did a lot of most of our traffic comes from SEO, and then I also did an e-commerce company and another luggage company where a lot of our traffic comes from SEO as well. But Voy Media, we focus on paid traffic. So that's a quick background on myself.
I know how important SEO is, and I know what it can mean to an organization that does it well. However, most organizations I've been a part of don't have the patience for building it correctly, getting the backlinks, either paying for the backlinks or doing it organically, or putting the right content together on the website to attract the attention of Google and search terms and rank for them. So when you reached out, I'm like, okay, this is a great idea. Let's do an SEO tactic that might have an immediate impact on search volume. But before we jump into that tactic in particular, tell us why SEO is important in 2021.
So for me, even though at least at Voy, we mainly focus on paid, I still think SEO is probably the best tactic out there for long-term growth. And the reason why, it's because you're just getting customers coming to your website or to your blog posts that are looking for a solution to a product they have, or they're looking to learn about maybe a solution. And if you can present yourself out there and essentially just show up, you're going to have customers that are really curious about your product or solution, and then essentially just get cheaper traffic and cheaper conversions. I think, yeah, like you said before, most people don't want to wait that 6 to 12 months to get traffic. But once you start getting it and figuring it out, there's a reason why these big companies such as HubSpot invest so much in SEO, because they know it's worth it. And yeah, I think as you're sort of scaling your brand, you'll realize that paid is great and it's a great infusion of sales. But as you spend more money, it's going to get more expensive. Where SEO, it's kind of like the opposite, where you're spending a lot of money, you're not seeing anything, and then later on, I talk to people all the time, they wish you started SEO earlier.
The problem is most of the businesses that I've dealt with, unless they're larger and can afford to wait it out, don't have the patience to see if you're going to be right or not. So, for example, I'd say, okay, you're going to spend $60,000 in the next 6 months on SEO, and you probably won't see any results until month 6. Most companies are like, yeah, right, dude. We're not giving you the money to do that. But I'm like, okay, that $60,000 would be the best investment you'll ever spend. But I understand why you don't want to do it. So they go to this other strategy, and I'm going to lighten it a little bit, but essentially, I call it the rent-a-girlfriend strategy. Mm-hmm. And you can rent a girlfriend, that's what I call paid SEM, and you can rent it indefinitely. But you know what? As soon as you stop paying for that girlfriend goes away. As opposed to having a girlfriend that you date and invest in, build time with, then you have a very loyal girlfriend that you're not paying for that pays off for the long term, 2, 3, 4 years without having to pay for it. You just have to, take her out every once in a while, invest in her, write her some letters in the form of blog posts, and just monitor to make sure, you're still ranking on page 1. So, but even with that cute analogy, it's still not convincing for a lot of companies. What do you say to that?
Yeah, no, that's exactly a great way to think about it. It's with paid, it's kind of like you're renting traffic, you're renting sales. You don't really own anything. And with SEO, you're really owning the content. You're owning where it's sort of delivered, how it's delivered, and I prefer SEO like that too. And I think a lot of businesses, yeah, they might think it's expensive, but in the long run, it's going to be even more expensive to realize that you might be too late because other competitors out there are already waiting with content. And that's sort of what we see. And I think, at least from my experience, it's going to be either two ways. If a company has done SEO in the past and they've seen it work successfully, the next company they start with or work at, they're going to start off with SEO, or they're going to figure out that like the other way, which is like they've never done it before, and they want to start off with paid because they read bloggers, they read other stuff, and they're like, they don't realize the power of SEO. I think it's the key is when that person actually realizes the power of SEO. And SEO is great. I mean, if you think about Google, like their whole company is literally like a search engine. There's a reason why it's like it works. People are searching for things every single day.
Yeah. Yeah, I think if people understand the power of it, but they don't have the patience or the money for it. I mean, especially when you ask them for a budget for backlinks. They're like, "What? You want me to
They don't understand that backlinks cost money." I'm like, "Yeah, it's not free." Like, and I think that comes with like, at least for you probably know, is people think SEO is free because Google sort of kind of has like this weird thing where it's like free traffic, right? But it's not really free. It's like a weird,
and people have to like it. And there's a whole lot of rules around what could be on a page or not on a page. It's and how fast it loads. I mean, there's all these rules, and then all of a sudden they could change the rules, and then your traffic dips by half, and you're like, well, what the heck? But the flip side happens too. Your traffic can double. It's a weird game.
It's a weird thing, and it's like, and the thing too, it's like even guys like that do SEO or people that work for you, it's like you never know when Google will update anything. They just don't tell you. And it's like kind of you said, overnight your traffic will dip or double, and you're just like, what happened? You're like, well, I didn't do anything yesterday that was different than I'm doing today. So
some algorithm change, you know, that they don't notify you until I think you get like a 4-hour notice.
Yeah.
All right, so let's say that you've been thinking about doing SEO and you want to kind of tiptoe into it. So you've come up with a tactic that I found pretty remarkable that's slightly controversial, and I'll tell everyone why after you state it. But it's basically about writing comparison pages of other products in your space to steal their traffic. So why don't you set that up and explain what you mean by that?
Yes. So when we talk about comparison pages, we really mean the way I've seen it and the way we've done it work really well is your company versus another company, right? So let's say a big company that does this really well is probably Klaviyo. Klaviyo is an email marketing platform based out of Boston, and they compete with something like MailChimp. So if you Google Klaviyo versus MailChimp, then you'll see that they have pages comparing their product versus the competitor's product. And this traffic works really well because it's really, if you think about the buyer cycle of the person searching for this, they kind of want to just make a decision and they want to just be pushed over edge just a little bit more, either to one solution or another one. So for you as a brand, you want to make these pages that way you can say, hey, look, this is why we're better than that competitor you're thinking about and why you should try our free trial versus theirs. And another way to think about it too, it's if you don't have traffic, let's say you're a brand new business, Klaviyo is a big company, but let's say it didn't. When people are looking for MailChimp, you can potentially show up now under their brand term and be seen as an alternative because people are looking for these alternatives. And that's kind of like the whole like SEO space and sort of keyword you're thinking about. It's these verses, but also like brand name alternatives. And if you can rank for these, that means people are already looking for another product or service, and they've already been educated on the market. So now you just need to talk about your features and maybe your pricing and why you're a little bit different.
All right. Let's say you haven't done any SEO strategies whatsoever, and you start with this. Is that something you recommend, or you wait? Do you say, hey, just wait a while until you build up some organic keyword ranking and then deploy something like this?
I would start off with this like almost immediately. And the reason why is because you're going to be leveraging the other brand keywords to sort of get traffic yourself. And that's why this tactic works so well, because if someone's even looking for just MailChimp alternatives or, product name alternatives, then you can potentially show up on page 1 or 2. And the thing about this too, this tactic is, I know when you're searching for, let's say like, dog treats, like people search for like maybe the first two websites on the top 10 of Google, But when people are looking for alternatives or product alternatives, they're going to be searching all the way through like the first page or second page because they're just looking for options. So even showing up on the top 2 pages is a great, and obviously you're not going to get tons of traffic, but the people looking for this keyword are going to be looking for, like, they're going to be diving deep into what other solutions aren't out there.
Why would you rank though for something like that if you don't rank for anything else?
The reason why you might rank is because in your keyword, you're going to have like the brand name, and then that brand name is going to be so effective in the URL. I think the URL is so important when you're thinking about ranking. And of course, like, you're not going to rank overnight. It's still over time, but you're sort of leveraging that brand's name into your URL. So that if your URL contains, like, say, for example, I'm using MailChimp, but this is an example. In your URL, you want to have MailChimp, and then also in your H1, you want to have MailChimp, and then you want to at least have an H2 that says like MailChimp versus your competitor, and then another H2 that says MailChimp alternatives. And then you'll sort of use that to sort of tell Google like, hey, we're going to rank for this sort of like branded name plus like alternative keywords. But of course, you're not going to rank overnight, and you might need some traffic and you might need some links, but it's easier than like the broader terms that you might not rank for.
Okay. And then, so would you recommend they promote that with social traffic to have some links right out of the gate? Or how would you recommend they promote that article so that it has a potential of showing up higher in the search results?
Yeah. So how would I promote that traffic would be easy. I would say, like, in the beginning, I always tell people, like, you need to use your website. Like, most of the traffic, let's say you have no links, then you need to be doing some basic link building, such as, posting it on Twitter, posting it on Facebook, posting it on Google, plus whatever the networks are these days, Pinterest as well, to sort of get some base links. And then if you're looking to actually grow these pages, then you actually start needing to do outreach and reaching out to these other third party. But most likely people might not link to these sort of comparison pages. So you might need like other content pages that are more easily linkable, like linkable assets, we call them. And then from that linkable asset, then you link to your sub page, because your like how-to articles might get more traffic and might get more links than these sort of comparison pages.
Okay. What else would you recommend they do with that page? Update it over time, or what other recommendations do you have to make sure that that's ranking pretty high? It draws traffic, and then people see the comparison. They say, okay, I was looking at HubSpot. Now I'm seeing Klaviyo, and maybe I should look a little deeper within, the site here. So obviously you're going to want links to the product or links to something. To help people understand what your offering is versus the competition that you just named in the article. Is there anything else?
Yeah. So something I've seen is, at least HubSpot does this really well. So HubSpot, if you look at it, if you want people want an example of a company that does this really well, HubSpot is a massive CRM company. They compete with like Salesforce, etc., Zoho. They have like Zoho alternatives, and like that is literally like their pages. And obviously it's a controversial, but like the biggest companies in the world are doing it because it's like completely makes sense. But how HubSpot has done it is they constantly update their pages with awards that they won to say, hey, look, this is why we're better than Zoho, because in 2019 we got this award, and this is why you should pick us. And a big one that they also do, I've seen them do a lot, is they'll constantly update their pricing on the page. So they might be testing different pricing, or say like, hey, look, we're cheaper this way. This other company's more expensive. And another way that I've seen people need to do is just come in and update with recent reviews. So let's say you wrote the article last year in 2020, and you have a review on there from 2020. You may want to come in and update it with like a recent 2021 review. And the reason why is because people are always looking for the newest thing. And if your thing even looks old, especially in like software, people think that you're not updating it. So you want to come in and at least have fresh content to say, hey, look, this thing still works, or make it relevant to right now.
But you don't want to change the URL, right?
No, definitely not the URL. No.
Yeah. What about the title?
The title, I think the title is fine. You can play around with it, but usually I like to stick to what I know kind of works. So either like for example, HubSpot does like Zoho alternative. Yeah. And I would just always keep it like that, if that's like the keyword you're want to rank for. So I would definitely think about what is that head term.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
But I wouldn't do. Yeah.
I want people to be careful that they don't update something that totally throws it off.
Yeah, definitely not the URL. Like URL, like if you have to, like think about what you're doing, and if you're updating, make sure you do a right 301 redirect.
Yeah. Okay. Anything else around this particular tactic that you want to cover?
I think for this tactic, I think like the reason why I think it's probably so effective, and you can just think about this as a tactic for tons of different services or products you might have that your product competes against. And really for this, it's think about your search experience when you're looking for stuff. What would you want to see, and then how can you make a page that sort of shows all that? That way you can do it. And then again, people think that like this might be illegal or weird. I it's such a big thing now that like I think it's like even commercials do it nowadays, and I think it's probably one of the best tactics out there.
It's not illegal or weird. Yeah. I would disagree, and I also say I think it's a brilliant tactic. I mean, I always look for comparison sites regardless. So yeah, now anyone going to the site's going to know it's biased, but at least they get some perspective, and they could see, well, this is the feature I wanted, and the other one doesn't have it. So maybe it's something I should take a look at.
Yeah. For sure. And I think I think people just to give it a shot. I think it works really well. And we've seen it work really well with almost every industry and niche nowadays. And kind of what you said, probably there's tons of these like comparison sites out there because people are actually looking for this content.
Yeah. I know I am.
Yeah, me too.
All right. So tell us a little bit about what you guys are doing at Voy Media, and what's the key action item you want people to take as a result of listening to this?
Yeah, so at Voy Media, we help brands scale on paid traffic, but really for people looking to do anything on traffic or even like landing pages, or anything like that, or even content marketing, we do have a book called Digital Marketing Made Easy that it's on Amazon. So if people want a copy, feel free to email me, Kevin at Voy Media, and I can give people a free copy. So, but yeah, if you're looking for that just to learn marketing or even more marketing tactics like this, just our book has a lot of this stuff on there.
Excellent. Okay. And last question I have is, where do people find you if they have any other questions? You gave out your email address. Is there a Twitter handle or something like that you
Yeah. So I love using Twitter. Twitter is probably like my favorite place. So my Twitter URL is twitter.com/Danest, DANEST. It's like an old username from like high school.
How young are you, Kevin?
Yeah. Who made it?
They didn't have Twitter when I was in high school. All right. So thank you very much for being on the show. Great tactic. And if you've got anything like this that you want to bring up in the future, let me know.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you, Mark.
Thank you.